Hey y'all, I am so excited to do a physical TTRPG flip through with y'all this week. My name is Jess, and TTRPGs have been my hyperfixation for the last 5 years or so. So I'm really excited to do this flip through with Modiphius Entertainment's Dreams and Machines. It is a really cool new RPG setting that you and your table can play in. So as always, we're gonna start by looking at this absolutely stunning cover page. I absolutely love it. It really sets you up for what you're going to encounter while playing Dreams and Machines. The biggest kudos to the art department. Y'all are amazing. I love this so much. And don't fret, y'all. The gorgeous art continues throughout the pages. You are not going to be disappointed. So let us go ahead and get started on opening this up and seeing what's inside. So, as you can imagine, because I am mostly a player, we're going to be starting with, you guessed it, the Player's Guide for Dreams and Machines. In this book, I really love how folks are not only introduced to the world of Evera Prime, but they also get a little bit of an introduction to role-playing games, which I think is a really cool way to remove a barrier for some folks who might not be in the know on what that is, because not everyone who picks up an RPG book is going to automatically know what an RPG book entails. So I just wanted to give them some accolades for that. In the introduction, I have actually just told you all of the introduction. So anyways, in chapter 2, you are introduced to the history and lore, and then you are also getting to know some of the factions on the planet, the core rules and mechanics of Dreams and Machines, conflict that players may encounter while playing, character creation, equipment that can be used not only by players but also NPCs, as well as glyphs. So I really love how they have set this first chapter up. This introduction is so cute, and I'm going to go ahead and read Kari's storybook. When I was young, I didn't understand why people were afraid of machines, when all they did was sit there. And besides, my parents said long ago they used to help people, before the builder made them hurt us at least. But I always thought that that was the builder's fault, not the machines on their own. Maybe there were some that didn't want to listen. Maybe there were some that were still good. Then Abe woke up, and he played with me. He didn't attack people like Wakers did. People were still afraid of him, but I wasn't. And I'm still not. So like I mentioned, they have this really nice introduction on what a role-playing game is, but I am going to go ahead and skip over that for now, and actually rewind for just a moment. Instead of focusing on what an RPG is, I'm going to focus on this one specifically. Dreams and Machines is a brand new RPG setting where people come together to rebuild their world following a catastrophic war. They venture into a world of mystery and adventure, a world where slumbering mechs dot the landscape and people build their lives anew in the wreckage of paradise. You take on the role of one of the new tribes of humanity, an archivist, dreamer, Everin, river, or sphere, and you forge a path for yourself and your people. And so to play this game, you're going to want d20s and an open and vivid imagination. And it is incredibly cool how much history and lore that they have packed in to this second chapter. There are, like, I'm not joking, like 30 plus pages. Before we look at a few of them, I want to skip ahead to the timeline that they have created. And we're going to start in 2080 CE, when the Earth enters a period of political cooperation known as reunification, between a coalition of nations and institutions, funds research into new energy sources, eco-friendly technologies to fix environmental issues, and renewed urgency for space travel to seek resources and plan for colonization of locations in the solar system. Now, if you were to say, I don't know, jump ahead 800 years or so, you would end up in present day Evera, 2837 CE. So, present day Evera is a strange mix of magic like high technology, post apocalyptic ruin, wilderness survival, horrific danger, and most importantly, hope. There are so many pages, like I said earlier, like literally 30 plus, focused on the lore and the history of Evera Prime, which I absolutely adore being able to see as a player. I know many folks reserve that specifically for the GMs. So I think it's just a really cool treat being able to read so much about this amazing world and seeing again all of this gorgeous art. But we are going to skip ahead now to the core rules. So like, look at all this. So much history, so much lore. I love it. I love the vivid illustrations. And now we are at the core rules. So like I said earlier, you're gonna want D20s because this is a D20 system. And you're gonna want to have actually a couple D20s for your dice pool to use for skill checks, aka tests during the game. You're also gonna want a pen and paper for map making, keeping notes, and tracking effects from the game. You're also going to want at least 6 tokens to track momentum saved up and extra tokens for spirit. So your character is going to have some attributes representing your most basic abilities: might, quickness, insight, and resolve. Each attribute has a rating from 6 to 16, usually 8 to 10 means that that is a middle of the road attribute. Characters also have skills which cover a broad range of actions: move, fight, sneak, talk, operate, study, and survive. Each of those skills is rated from 1, which means no training or knowledge, to 6, which means you are an expert in your field. Characters also have a tech level, which represents their familiarity with science and technology, which is rated from 0 to 6. This is actually used a little bit more often to determine if a character can attempt something technical rather than how likely they are to succeed when they try. Characters also have truths, which are single words or phrases to describe facts about the character. They also have bonds, and that is to describe how they relate to other characters, as well as talents, which are feats that allow the characters to succeed against impossible ends. So during skill tests, if you score multiple successes, actually more than you need, you can turn that into a single point of momentum, which can be used for gaining advantage for feats later in the game. Spirit is a character's inner reserves of concentration and stamina. Essentially, you can spend that to buy additional d20s for tests or to avoid injuries or other consequences during a scene. So I am going to go through, I'm going to flip through, the core rules, and I am going to go to the next chapter, which is conflict. I really like how they have it set up and how that there are different ways you can break down the conflict that the characters might see. So there are 4 main actions, and that is attacking, that is avoiding danger, confronting problems, and defining truth. So attacking is done using skill test or contest, but it comes with a risk of a counterattack. Avoiding danger is an unconventional defense against an attack, but also a chance for the player to describe how they choose to avoid a dangerous situation that the GM has explained. Confronting problems is the flexible option where attacking and avoiding don't necessarily fit. Essentially, the GM will decide if this other solution is plausible and then set a skill test to see it through. And finally, there is Define Truth, which is an attempt to change some facts about the current situation by creating a new truth, removing a truth, or changing one. There's also a nice section on injury, death, and defeat. Actually, now that I say that, maybe it's not a nice section, but it does talk about how it's handled in the game. And unfortunately, injury, death, and defeat are pillars of a lot of games, so it's definitely needed. Next we have characters and character creation, and y'all know me, this is my absolute favorite part. There are 5 origins to choose from, like Everin, the Dreamer, the Archivist, the Spears, and the River. Each of them have their own unique abilities, truth, attributes, skills, and tech levels, and you also get to choose an archetype like the Fixers, the Gatherers, the Grabbers, the Guardians, the Mediators, and the Techs. After you choose your origin as well as your archetype, you'll choose a temperament and finishing touches like your spirit pool, your supply points, and bonds with the other characters that you're going to be playing with. As you can imagine, there is also a large section on equipment. I think I actually went a little too far. That includes trade, barter, and the economy. But we're gonna go and take a peek at glyphs now. And again, like I said, there is and I love this, there is a very large section that has lots of cool weapons, lots of cool armor, and talks to you about the world and the economy and the barter system that Ever Prime uses. And eventually, we are going to get to glyphs and weaving, but like I said, there's a lot. But here we are. I think that this is a really cool section that covers glyphs and weaving because that is what is used to provide instructions, directions, and basic information to the machines as they did their assigned tasks. There are a lot of different complexities and meanings for various glyphs that you can encounter while playing. And I absolutely love them and think that it's really, really neat. And I'm looking forward to being able to dive into this as a player. But now I want to show y'all really quickly what the character sheet looks like. It's front and back. I think it's really nice because it's simple and easy to scan, and then it has your equipment as well as your weapons on the back. And then there's this nice little region of Regis Castile here as well. So now that is my flip through. And here's the back for all of y'all. So there you have it, folks. That was my flip through of the Player's Guide of Dreams and Machines from Modiphius Entertainment. I think it is a really cool RPG setting. I think it's unique. I think it has, like I said many, many times, amazing art. I love that they've given us so much lore to dig into, not only as a game master, but also in the player's guide. I think that's something that we don't always get, which I absolutely adore. I love all of the different origins. I love all of the different archetypes. I love a D20 system. I know a lot of people hate on the D20s, but they're one of my favorite dice to roll other than D100s, so I absolutely love that. I definitely think it is worth checking out, whether you get the Game Master's Guide and Player's Guide to run the game, or if you just want to be a player, getting the Player's Guide. So I think my next question to y'all is, who's going to run this for me on my next TTRPG charity stream? Because I would really love to play a River Gatherer. I think that'd be super cool. And if you're not going to be running my next game for me, are you going to be joining? And if so, what origin and what archetype would you choose to play?